The meeting. At 7 p.m., the meeting was beginning, and all its members shuffled their way over to their usual places, which were as predictable as if they'd been assigned and enforced by some thuggish meeting monitor. Occasionally, a new member would appear for the first time and disrupt the seating arrangement, or the possessor of a more desirable spot would come very late, only to have had it usurped by someone else who had consciously chosen to assume that he wasn't coming. But this week's meeting was to suffer no upsets and dispatched as automation. 3 sections of the large red couch each hefted their way over to their place against the far wall, securing themselves flush against it so as not to jut out and block the hallway. Their twin counterparts, love seats 1 and 2, scooted themselves over against the opposite wall, completing a balanced red border. Next, stone blue recliner shuffled himself into the strategically centralized spot of the house, uniquely positioned to both host and to sentry all of the open floor plan. Finally, 5 slightly less predictable wooden chairs skidded over to their usual domain, where they fluctuated in number from week to week. Less secure than the others in their positions, they fidgeted longest into place. Recliner's eyes traveled warmly across his guests. Then he began. Good evening. I trust that you've all had a chance to listen to this week's update on Oakville's homes. All 3 couch sections nodded, along with all 4 chairs. Love Seat 1 grinned a sheepish appeal, first toward Recliner, then sweeping over the rest of the members. We had company staying over this week, sleeping on me, and I haven't had a minute to myself. Oh, the furniture all sympathized. They'd all been through that. People are unpredictable, and are often oblivious to the need for simple warnings or apologies. It was a known and a lying maxim that if furniture treated people the way people treated furniture... Love Seat 1 glanced around the nodding sections and chairs, reassured. That's all right, Love Seat 1, officiated Recliner. So then, let's just review this week's update before we jump into our discussion. And with this, he produced a formidable stack of handouts, each containing update summaries and an ambitious battery of discussion questions. 8 were distributed, 22 remained. Exactly 1 discussion question was covered. And the meeting proceeded as follows. The furniture each thanked him for the little booklets, then glanced over them, some quietly in awe of, some quietly dismayed by the volume of information they would cover in the next hour. Recliner then proceeded to read the update summary aloud, which was entitled, What is the Purpose of Your Home? Then, after pausing for digestion, he began, First of all, is there anything that stood out to anyone about the update this week? Yes, blurted out Woodchair 1. I loved how, in the introduction, the speaker touched on the question of how the domestication of animals made it possible for humans to have the food supply and the time to develop more durable sanitary homes that they needed. Oh, yeah, responded Love Seat 2. That was so interesting. I wish he'd have expanded on that. Well, whatever their contribution was, I think it's done, quipped Section 1. And how, in building homes, they functioned as transporters and helpers, added Section 3. More like droolers and shedders, muttered Section 1. Our dogs shed everywhere. It's almost like they're having a contest, added Woodchair 2. You know, in a lot of Asia and in the Middle East, they keep their dogs outside, observed Love Seat 1. Maybe they can help out there, responded Section 1. Plus, they have all those beautiful rugs. The animals would be shedding all over those too, added Woodchair 4. But have you ever thought about it, posed Woodchair 3. What if animals did not exist as a food source for people? Would they have bothered domesticating them to begin with? And then, would it have taken them longer to use animals to transport building materials? Would that have slowed the development of human civilization? And then what would things look like today? The thought eager on his mind, Woodchair 3 glanced around the room expectantly. After a few quiet moments, it became clear that no one had ever thought about that, but was not willing to admit it. Woodchair 3's thoughts quietly returned inward. Then Recliner opportuned to wrangle the discussion in. Okay, those are some interesting thoughts. Let's see what else we can glean from this message. Please turn to page 2, part 1. The furniture opened their folded handouts. There was the faintest rustling sound, of the type produced by paper being manipulated without hands. Recliner commenced. Question 1 asks, what does the layout of your home reveal about its purpose for its inhabitants? Any thoughts on that? And he looked solicitously around the room. Reveals a God complex, said Section 1 dryly. Oh, it's not that bad, smiled Section 2. Oh, isn't it? Got this grand vaulted entryway that leads into a kitchen with platinum counters and every other bell and whistle you could rustle up. And the rest of the house is just a basic 3-bedroom. They're granite, softened Section 2. Have you talked to them? They think they're platinum. I'm just saying that they could have spared the flash and used that money to build another bedroom or a deck or something useful. Or just saved it. Simplicity is a lost virtue. Oh, I know, said Section 3. The designs today are so ostentatious. We have a master bathroom like a palace with big mirrors and a fireplace, all for a modest 4-bedroom home. With all that, I'm surprised they keep us wood chairs around at all. Next, they'll probably want gold ones instead, joked Love Seat 1. Yeah, they'll just use us for the kid table at Thanksgiving, rejoined Love Seat 2. If they don't use us for the bathroom fireplace at first, cracked Section 1. Laughter. With that, Recliner interceded to reorient the discussion. Getting back to the question of what the layout of your home reveals about its purpose for its inhabitants. Just a minute, Recliner. Section 1. If you want to hear a story about simplicity, interjected Woodchair 3. We were in this ranch-style home in Ohio, and they had this minimalist motif going, which looked great if there were no actual people living in the house. But with that stark background, as soon as someone left his keys or a coffee mug out, it became the focal point of the whole room. Because with just a few pieces of skinny furniture and no storage, there was no space to hide any clutter at all. So, as a result, the people were constantly arguing over who left what mess where. Yes, it was economical. Yes, it looked good in theory, but at what cost? So I ask you, is simplicity always the answer? And he looked around the room with interest. But neither Recliner nor anyone else seemed to know, but also didn't want to admit it. Recliner replied, yes, minimalism is a means of accomplishing a purpose for a home. Does anyone else have a particular motif in his home? And what does that, along with its layout, say about what your house was meant to be used for? Sovereignty, declared Section 1, to giggles from love seats and chairs. Zoo, added Woodchair 2, to more giggles. I think my home is designed for entertaining, observed Section 3. Good, encouraged Recliner, relieved to have the first direct answer to his question after 40 minutes of prying. Although he appreciated his group's members' thoughtfulness, he sometimes marveled at how it interfered with their ability to produce a simple, linear discussion. He nodded approvingly for her to continue. Yeah, we have a centralized kitchen with a bar and a conjoined oversized dining room. There's a separate den, but it's smaller and understated. So the focus is clearly on larger group dining. Recliner smiled. Good. Anyone else? I think my home is designed for the propagation of spiders, detoured Woodchair 2. Our house was built in the 90s, so we have all those storage loft shelves about 3 feet below our vaulted ceilings, all through the living area. The wolf spiders love those. Ooh, are those the ones with 8 eyes and hairy legs? Asked Woodchair 5. Yes. My 17-year-old is afraid of spiders, and he hit one with a broom one time to knock it on the floor and kill it, and it was a female. So then about 100 babies swarmed out of it and started crawling everywhere. He hollered and ran for the door. Yeah, and I could guess who all those babies ran for, said Love Seat 2, gesturing to her low-hanging skirt. Yeah, makes me glad to be a chair, responded Woodchair 5. Right, affirmed Woodchair 3. I know every time, maybe twice a year, I see my people move the couches to clean the furniture under them. I thank God I've just got these tall, simple legs that hide nothing. Then, glancing good-humoredly over all the section's love seats, he said, I know I might be headed for that bathroom fireplace one day, but I'm just saying, for today, I'm glad not to be sitting on old cereal spoons and dusty socks and baby spiders. I try not to think about it, admitted Section 2. On the plus side, between the two of us, we made $3 and change last month, highlighted Section 1, looking at his counterpart. She returned a smile of patient affection. All right, so getting back to the question before our time is up, would anyone else like to share an example of what their home's layout reveals about its purpose? And then they all heard the sound of keys opening the front door. All the furniture fell silent, and the pamphlets were surreptitiously tucked under or between cushions. Then the people walked in, turned on the lights, and deposited their keys by the door. Good thing I didn't put out any snacks tonight, thought Love Seat 2. They might have become suspicious. And it's better for them not to know we eat their food when they're not looking. They might not have noticed, hinted Woodchair 3 hungrily, whose person was gone a lot and seldom kept much food in the house beyond mustard and old celery. I think it'd have been fine. Whenever I accidentally leave food out and the people find it, they just eat it without question, thought Woodchair 1, whose house contained multiple teenagers. Once I had the neighbor's patio furniture over for cards, and I accidentally left a whole pizza out when the kids came home, and it was gone in 15 minutes, with no thought as to where it might have come from. Oblivious to the silent conversation continuing around them, the people continued about their ritual of settling in, getting something to drink, and then making their way down the hall to get ready for bed. After a moment, the woman came back out, did something in the kitchen, then turned off the living room lights as she exited down the hall for the night. The furniture stood motionless in the dark room. Well, I suppose that ends our meeting, conceded Recliner. Good discussion, thought Section 3. Recliner maintained tentative silence. And they all sat there, allowing the natural interval for leave-taking to expire. Well, I suppose it's not too late for snacks, after all. They have a cheeseball and some carrot sticks, thought Love Seat 2. They have all that cantaloupe they never eat. It'll go bad, added Recliner. Ooh, I'll help, offered Chair 5. And the vibrant silence pulsed with volleying asides and inside jokes late into the night, demonstrating the answer to the question they'd never quite gotten around to.